Okay, welcome back to Hanging with Mangg. My name is Mangg. Another week has gone by. My goodness, time just flies by. So we're playing some Deus Ex Mankind Divided. That's pretty cool. I jumped on the police car, alarms went off, cops freaked out. That was cool. We're just gonna be doing, I guess, some side stuff, see what trouble we can get into, things we can find. Nothing major, because this is not part of the Let's Play. Speaking of Let's Plays, it was pretty much as expected this week. There was some Mankind Divided. There was some Minish Cap, which is going very well. And there was Big Bow Edition. And there was also Duelist. I uploaded an hour-long video for the new expansion, opening 50 packs and playing a match and blah blah blah. For people that are into Duelist, maybe it was interesting. I don't know. I did it. That's what happened. And on Monday, on the other channel, the Sauron video went up, the first one for the Exploring Middle-earth. So that has gotten a solid response, which is good. Shit. That didn't do anything. I don't have any multi-tools, do I? Anyways. Yeah, so it got high praise from Ziggy, which was a big deal because he's kind of the resident Tolkien expert that I know, and so for him to say it was all good, that was very nice. I got a few comments talking about my pronunciation, and that's a bummer because it's not like I'm not gonna redo the video, you know, to just repronounce things. Like, it is what it is now, but it's always there forever. So yeah, not much I can do. I'll have to be more fastidious in the future for researching pronunciation. I looked up a few things. I looked up how to pronounce a few things, like Aule. I didn't know how to pronounce that. Or, I don't know. I looked up a couple things. But for some reason, I didn't look up Celebrimbor, because I figured, it's gotta be Celebrimbor. Why would it be anything different? Except, I should know better. Because, yeah, I should have known better.
Anomaly detected. Trace program initiated.
Shit. Yes, so that's that.
Anomaly detected.
Damn.
Trace program initiated.
Might have to use an overclock. I guess I could use a reveal, see what that looks like. I don't know what that did. I have no idea what that did. Could use a stealth. There, now I'm stealthy. Oh, so one thing has a 0% capture or detection rate. That doesn't really help me though.
Granted.
I nuked that shit. Anyways, never mind that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. How the hell? Who the hell are you? This is a restricted area. I don't know, give me my laser targeting system. Let me put it on my sniper rifle. I'm talking about the game too much. That's not what hanging with Mangg is about. I think the upcoming week is going to be pretty much the same until it's going to be the same until Recore comes out, and then I'll probably start that. It would be nice to finish Big Bow Edition before that comes out. I don't like to juggle 4 things at once. I mentioned in the latest Big Bow Edition video, which I know not many people are watching, so I will reiterate it here. But I mentioned the idea of doing a kind of Mangg Hunter sequel series, I guess, but also just using a bow only. Because Monster Hunter has primarily been just melee only series for me, so it could be interesting to really alter my playstyle a lot. I don't know if people are interested in that. I know Mangg Hunter is fairly popular as far as my gaming series goes, so it's worth a thought. Yeah, so that's that. We are in September now, which is exciting because it's only 1 month away from October, which is pretty much one of the best months of the year. So come October then, we will be, of course, getting into the full swing of horror. I love my horror stuff. And, so, you know, as is my tradition, we do horror gaming, but you know, virtual reality is a thing now, so there will be horror VR gaming videos happening, perhaps streams, probably. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to it, but I will do it for you guys. So yeah, that'll be good, or maybe it won't, I don't know. Anyways, nice. I did not have any, you may have noticed, if you are particularly attentive, that there was no Fate Thursday stream this week. That is because there was no Fate Thursday game this week, which was a disappointment, to say the least. You know, you just not a damn thing you can do about it. Your DM just says, "Oh, I can't do it tonight," and it's like, okay. I mean, you can berate him all you want, you can call him insults, whatever. It doesn't change the fact that he's not doing anything tonight, and that's it. So, yeah, we didn't do anything, and then we didn't have enough people to get together for a board game, so just nothing. And Monday, the same thing. We didn't have enough, so just nothing. And, yeah. I did play last Sunday. Instead of an RPG, we did some TTS stuff. And we played...
Anomaly detected. Trace program initiated.
Eldritch Horror. Played Eldritch Horror. What the hell am I doing? Where am I going? So we played Eldritch Horror, which is, you know, it's one of my favorite games.
Anomaly detected.
It's very difficult, and we certainly did not win. Certainly did not win. We went up against Yogg-Sothoth, and we got hammered by a couple of crazy rumors that we kind of had to juggle a little bit, and I continually failed to get a clue token to put on the mystery, and so our first mystery took like 2 hours to complete, and then we never got a hold on the second one, and we got like the rumors, and there were some really, we didn't clear gate, like, we didn't really do that much. It was just kind of a big struggle, like Eldritch Horror normally is. And so Yogg-Sothoth awakened, and that's all she wrote, pretty much. I don't really mind losing in Arkham Horror, Eldritch Horror, it's just how it is. But, yeah, it's a difficult game if you don't know what you're doing. On Wednesday, we played some Dungeons and Dragons. Recently, Roll20 decided to put out a... They kind of teamed up with Wizards of the Coast. So, this is pretty much like the first official integration of D&D with Roll20. Which is fairly exciting, because I'd like to see Roll20 get a lot more official integration of all sorts of stuff. And I guess D&D is the logical place to start. And so they put out the, like, this adventure, The Lost Mines of Phandelvar, or something like that. And so the adventure was fully available on Roll20 with, like, all the, like, the full SRD, so all the spells and everything, and all the enemy stats and artwork and maps and all that was all available. You pay some money to Roll20 and you can use it on there. So Mert, of course, is always eager to spend money on stuff, and so he did. And so he's like, yeah, let's do this, and we'll extend it into a full campaign, and, you know, we'll do all this other stuff, and the Storm Giants, and it's like, okay, Mert, we'll see if this makes 2 sessions.
Trace program initiated.
And so Wednesday we started, and we had
Anomaly detected.
6 players?
Trace program initiated.
Let me count. Yes, we had 6 players plus 1 DM. That's a big group.
Anomaly detected.
There are people out there
Trace
that I
program
know
initiated.
routinely play with like 7 or 8 people out there in the world.
Anomaly detected. Trace program initiated.
This isn't gonna happen. I need to use some program. In my opinion, it's too many.
Anomaly detected. Trace program initiated.
It's just too many people. Because when you have that many people in a group playing at one time, either nobody really gets to shine, or 1 or 2 people really get just kind of ignored completely. Like the quieter people, the people that tend to be a bit more shy, they are never really brought into the light almost at all with that many people. Because you have enough people then that are eager to just go into it and just talk and blather and blah blah blah, such as myself. And so it doesn't really help the situation. You know, more is not always merrier when it comes to an RPG. So I was wary with that many people, but you can't say no, you can't play because we have too many. Like, that's not how things work either. So we went ahead with it.
Hey, are you interested in clean guns for a good price?
Yes. Okay. I don't know what you said, but now you got punched out. No. This. Anyways, so, you know, we're not going to tell anybody they can't play, but, you know, we'll see how it goes and see what happens, and so we did. So I decided, you know, we have Ziggy joining us, and we've got, we were supposed to have Charlie Chike, so we were supposed to even have one more. He didn't show up, because I'm sure he forgot about it, but we were supposed to have one more, and he was, you know, he was going to play like some sex robot or something like that. It was going to be all sorts of trouble, and I'm like, I could end this campaign before we get out the gate if I really wanted to, which is what I tend to do when Mangg DMs, but, you know, he spent money on this. He seems earnest about it. There's enough going wrong with this. I'm actually, you know, the challenge here, because I do love a challenge here would be to actually keep it together. So I'm like, you know what, I'm going to actually try and be a bit more serious and really just be quiet, I guess. That's the best thing I can do for him, is not say or do that much. So I decided to make a... Why did I plug this in? I don't understand why I did that. I feel like I lost my biocell. So I made a, you know, dwarves are pretty much my favorite fantasy race. And I don't play them enough. Really, the only dwarf I ever play is Gug, who's a bastard, so I can't play that. So I wanted to make like a serious, like a good dwarf character. And I've been reading the King Killer Chronicles by Patrick Rothfuss, which is a really great series. Highly recommended. And so the main character, Kavoth, is pretty much a bard. I mean, as far as fantasy terms go, he plays the lute, he sings, and he can... I mean, I'd say cast magic, but it's kind of contentious within the series, but you get the idea. So I'm into that, so I was like, I'm gonna make a dwarven bard. We'll do it. And so he has to be... I wanted him to be a good guy. I wanted him to be a good, serious guy. So I decided to make him basically the king's younger brother, the dwarven king's younger brother.
Anomaly.
And so,
Access granted.
you know, he was kind of groomed in the nobility in case something happened to his older brother, that he would, you know, take the throne if need be. He was groomed in that whole aspect, and he's knowledgeable of politics and blah blah blah. But you know, his father relinquished the throne to his older brother, so he is now king. But you know, there was still possibility that this dwarf would become king if something happened to his brother. So he stuck around. But then once, you know, his brother had a son, and his son became old enough that if something were to happen, he would become king and, you know, as the direct kind of heir. So then he decided he's really not needed around here.
Anomaly detected.
So he decided to head out into the wide world. And because he always yearned for a bit more than just being cooped up in the mountain. And so he wanted to find some stories, make some stories of his own, play some music, sing some songs, be the classic storybook picture of a minstrel, of the wandering bard. And so that is pretty much where we came in. So he's a good guy. I didn't really flesh out a full backstory like I would for like a Ziggy campaign, because, like I said, this would last like 2 sessions. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So we. I see. I could go through 360s or through the 100, but if I stealth the 100, that would be great, but I don't have any stealth.
Anomaly detected.
See, it would be better to just go through
Trace
the
program
5 then.
initiated.
So the Lost Minds of whatever, I feel like the first time I ever played 5e, I might have done this. I might have done part of it. I really don't remember much of it, so it's not a big deal. But,
Anomaly detected. Trace program initiated.
basically, it's just a very simple kind of introductory D&D scenario. Like, if you've never played Dungeons & Dragons before, this would be a decent place to start. Because you're like on this escort mission. You're, you know, escorting this caravan to a town, and
Anomaly detected. Trace program.
actually, it doesn't really even make sense, because you're supposed to be escorting this thing as security, but it goes like ahead of you.
Anomaly
It's like, you know, we're gonna go a different route or
Trace
something.
program
Like,
initiated.
we can't wait around here. I don't know how it works, but they fuck off ahead of you, and then you catch up and you find just them. You find like their horse is dead in the street or something like that, and goblins attack you, and you fight off goblins, and you follow the goblins to their cave, and you try and rescue the people, and there's a bunch of goblins, and that's, you know, okay. So, I decided my character, whose name is, his real name doesn't really matter, because he only goes by Blot, B-L-O-T, and for fantasy names, I like to take words that kind of, like a single word that kind of represents the character in a simplistic kind of way, and then translate that into a different language. Normally Latin. Latin's always good for fantasy names. So I like ovum perditum means, I believe, lost sheep in Latin, I think. And so I really like that, and so now it's just, oh, there's ovum. Blot, I don't know what word I originally picked, and I don't know what language I translated it into, because I did it a while back. And it was just like, oh, it translates to Blot. And I'm like, oh, that's a good little nickname. And he's just Blot. And that's it. So I don't know what his name means. Maybe he doesn't even know what his name means. It's just Blot. But I decided that he's like a pacifist. Like, he doesn't really want to kill anything. But it's D&D, so you have to do combat, right? So I gave him just like a sling. So he throws rocks at things, which, yeah, it could kill people, absolutely. But as far as weapons go in Dungeons & Dragons, I guess it's like the least. He could use a quarterstaff, but I wanted him to be ranged, because, you know, he's not going to be in the thick of things. So I guess a sling is the least deadly ranged weapon. I don't know if that's true or not. The options are limited. But really, he doesn't really have to. We have 6 people or whatever in the group, so he could just sit back and heal somebody if they get hurt. So yeah, you know, we just kind of swarmed everything, and there's little cohesion when you have that many people, I feel. And so, like I said, I just wanted to kind of stay quiet and not make a big fuss about things and not cause any more trouble than the rest of the group already is. And so that's pretty much what I did. It wasn't a very eventful session for me, but that's okay. anything that I would want to do that would be eventful would just be disastrous. So I'll keep my peace for now. Eventually, if I feel like everybody's growing bored or something like that and getting a little sluggish, then maybe I'll exciting things up. But for now, I'll let them do what they do. So, I mean, it took a long time. That was probably the main issue, is just how long it took. Like, we played for like 2.5 hours, and we went down a road and then went through some woods and stepped into a cave. Pretty much it. Combat took way too long. In fact, I mean, this is something I should probably just say to Mert, but I'll say it to all of you instead. Like, there's really, rules and the system of a game is generally pretty flexible. Our first combat in that scenario was against just a group of ambushing goblins. Okay? And we played through the whole fight. That fight took, I want to say, 45 minutes. There was six adventurers against like 5 goblins. It took a long ass time. And really, if he had just said, a few brave goblins jump out at you, but you quickly trounce them, like, that would have taken 10 seconds, and it pretty much would have been the same effect. Now, this is me personally, because I don't really like D&D combat. D&D combat for me is on the level of Risk combat. It's pretty much the same thing. I've played a few different characters. I've done melee, I've done range, I've done spells, whatever. It's pretty much the same thing. It's just, it gets to my turn, I roll a die. If it's a good roll, maybe I'll roll 1 or 2 more dice, and then that's it. There's just nothing really exciting about it. Shit. Now, some people may really like D&D combat. I don't know why, but they may really like it. So, I guess that's kind of a part of just knowing your group. You have to know what people are interested in, why they're playing D&D, what they're looking for, what they're looking to get out of the game. If everybody in your group loves combat, you can't run like a political Game of Thrones type game. Whereas if nobody really likes combat, well, A, don't play D&D, but B, don't throw just constant orcs and goblins and shit at them, because that's just whatever. Or, if you do throw enemies at them, the combat itself might not be the meat of the dinner, I guess. I don't know what kind of analogy that is. Like, that's not the prize. That's not the enjoyment of the game. Beating them and moving on to the next step. I've been reading plenty about Fate and all that kind of stuff, and Fate is Fate is very different than D&D in general. It's very much celebrating I guess as they would phrase it, celebrating the awesomeness of the players, and really just, it's always about moving the game forward just constantly. And, if something bogs down or gets slowed down or whatever, just move on. Just move on. Just move on. Just move on. To always something cooler, something better, something more exciting. The way the base rulebook for Fate Core is written, it seems like people that are interested in Fate are just interested in cool, awesome cinematic games where all the players are awesome and they never die, and yeah, it's great. Now, Fate is highly, highly modifiable, but I think the core concept of, if it's boring, just move on or skip it or change it or whatever, I think that's fairly fundamental throughout all RPGs. Um, some parts of RPGs are like this loading screen. Like, if I could skip it, I would. It serves no purpose to me. It's not enjoyable to me. Yes, there's text on there, but I don't want to read it. I want to skip it. I want to get to something more exciting. That's some parts of RPGs. And some parts, probably for almost anybody. So I think learning your group, which is difficult with 6 people, like our group around a table, our fake game. That's 4 of us sitting around a table. If any of us want to say something, we can just put it out there, right there at the table. You have 7 people on a Skype call online that meet up once a week, and it's just, yeah, it's a little trickier. And with 7 people, if I said, hey, you should skip some of the lame combat, or reduce the number of combat or whatever, A, it's D&D, it's probably not going to happen, but B, some people might be the opposite, and they don't want to do what I want to do, which is just solving inane problems in obscure ways. They probably might want to do combat, so I don't know. It's hard to say. But needless to say, there really wasn't that many problems to be solved in that session, other than the problem of, hey, look, goblins. And I don't speak Goblin, so I can't even use that. So there's not a whole lot you can do. And it's a pre-written scenario, and I really just don't care for those too much. So not much to say about that. I'm glad that Ziggy's playing in it, though, because the more that he plays RPGs, the more he's encouraged to eventually pick up DMing again. Which is great, and I think the next time he DMs, it won't be D&D. He might be leaning towards Fate, which would be nice. Fate has a lot going for it, so it'd be nice to get a serious campaign out of it. I thought I was in one, but if we only meet like twice a month, it's rough. Yeah. I guess that's about it. Yeah. I mean, this thing is never going to load. That's fairly clear at this point. So, alrighty then. My name is Mangg. This has been Hanging with Mangg. And I'll see you fine folks next week.